So, the New World preview event started last week, and I've been playing it every single day for a couple of hours, and therefore I wanted to make some kind of video about it. The logical conclusion would be to make a little first look video, although after playing about 40 to 50 hours of it, I thought a regular first look video would be a little bit weird, so instead we're doing this one, where I talk about my thoughts, opinions, and hopes for the game, and just in general, throw everything a little bit together and talk about all the things New World. I have not participated in any of the previous NDA tests, so I cannot tell you what has changed. Not that I think the people that even participated in those tests can talk about it, because I'm pretty sure the NDA on all that stuff still is up. So yeah, I'm only going to talk about things that were publicly visible right now during this test, because that's all that I know. Alright, let's start talking for 5 seconds about the graphics. They're pretty good. The game runs pretty well. Performance, no issues. I think I crashed once or twice during the 40-50 hours that I played. It happens, especially during these tests. I think it might be a little memory leakage, which I'm sure, or at least I hope, they fix before the game launches, because that will be an issue that otherwise people would be running into. But other than that, I don't have too much to say about it. It ran fine, wasn't really an issue, so that was good. Let's actually talk about the gameplay. Combat is obviously a pretty big deal in MMORPGs, and New World is no different. In this case, it does do combat a little bit differently compared to a lot of MMOs out there. I think it actually is the first MMO that you could truly call the Dark Souls of MMORPGs. Sorry, that's a little bit dramatic. But yeah, no, it does have a very hefty combat system where you commit to your slash, you have to block, you have to dodge. Not blocking, not dodging will result in you getting stun locked. Not the biggest problem when you're fighting one enemy, because most enemies will give you the time to recover, although sometimes the AI is just brutal and the AI decides to just completely unload onto you and just throw every single attack out, and that sucks. But especially while you're fighting multiple enemies, even when you aren't in trouble, like even if you haven't been hit yet, fighting multiple enemies in this game is spooky. Even just fighting 2 enemies is really spooky. Like, they don't screw around. Everything hurts a lot. It really is really refreshing, because what happens in a lot of other MMOs is that you are a god amongst men, and you don't really take damage. You just walk through there, you throw out your fireballs, you throw out your attacks, and everything just falls over and dies. In this game, that's not really the case. In this game, you are definitely just a mere mortal, and you will die. You will die, to the point where the game actually has a campfire system, where you can throw down a campfire so that you have a respawn point nearby. What I kept on forgetting to use, which means that I had to keep on playing a running simulator of running about 400 or 500 meters. There's currently no mounts in the game, so if you die and you forgot to put down a campfire, and you have to respawn at the settlement, or you have to respawn at, like, wherever your last check-in was, you're gonna have to be running a long distance. It's, I would say that's probably the one frustration I had with this game so far. You can spend a lot of time playing the game, but not actually progressing, because death is so very punishing. Of course, the simple solution would be just get good. I get that. And you will get good the more you play the game, but it is definitely something to keep in mind. Compared to other MMOs where you just jump in, you grind a bunch of monsters, you win easy, get some experience, you haven't really wasted too much time. In this game, you can spend multiple minutes running towards wherever you need to be for your mission, then you might end up dying just before you finish the mission, and now you have to run back another couple minutes to actually continue the quest if you did not put down a campfire. There's also this weird glitch where sometimes you can't put down a campfire. It will tell you that you're too close to the landmark. The game considers any of the monster areas a landmark, so you would say just move a little bit further back, but I think it kind of gets into this issue when multiple monster areas are nearby each other. Then I think the landmark, even though it doesn't look like it connects on the minimap, I guess it kind of connects. So yeah, then it doesn't allow you to put down a campfire, which can be a little bit frustrating. The game obviously also has more than just melee combat. It does also have ranged and magic. I didn't really quite like them too much. I do think they have their places, especially while you are probably playing in a group. Magic could be quite good because you can throw down meteors from the sideline or if you are defending a wall in like PvP in war and shooting down from the wall with your musket rifle or something, they could be pretty useful. In general, though, I found the gameplay to be very awkward. Musket rifle is very immobile. Both magic staffs are very immobile. The only ranged weapon that kind of allows you to move around pretty decently and quickly fire some shots is the bow and arrow. The bow and arrow, however, does have gravity affect the arrow, so at a certain distance you have to aim a little bit higher. But yeah, bullets and magic have travel time, so if something is further away, you have to lead the shot. It's all very nice. I do like the idea of playing a third-person shooter inside of an MMO world. It's something also that you don't see a lot in games, so it's pretty exciting. I do like it. I do want to put more time into it, but I think I will mainly stick to melee for the simple reason that if an enemy gets very close to you, it's very hard to still keep on using your ranged weapon. And then you would say, well, you can carry up to 3 weapons once you get to a certain level. You can carry up to 3 weapons, and fairly quickly you can carry 2 weapons. The only problem with that is that you only have a limited amount of attribute points, and for pretty much every single melee weapon that's in the game currently, you need to just dump your stats into strength. Because if you do not dump your stats into strength, you will not do a lot of damage with your melee weapon, which will hugely affect your survivability as well. You would say like, oh, well, you can just keep on blocking, or you can just keep on dodging. No, because you do have a stamina bar, so being able to still kill the enemy in a relatively okay amount of time is still very much something that you probably would like to do. So until they have either like dexterity melee weapons, which I think they do plan on having daggers or a rapier, I think. So maybe they are like heavier dexterity weapons, essentially, like they skill better off dexterity. And I don't think they have any plan, but unless they get like a magical melee weapon, so an intelligence-based melee weapon, I just don't see myself leaning into the direction of using these weapons over melee. Melee just seems to be the way to go, especially since the hatchet in particular. A lot of people keep spamming the hatchet, and that works pretty well, especially early on, but the main thing that's very nice of the hatchet is that if you get a last hit with that weapon, you regenerate 20% health. So it becomes a very convenient grinding weapon because you don't have to take time to keep on chucking potions or whatever. So, yeah. Now that we've got all the basic combat stuff out of the way, let's talk about the general gameplay loop of what I have been doing for this 40 to 50 hours. Essentially, the main gameplay that you have is you go into town, or a settlement specifically, and you pick up the quests that are quote-unquote main quests, and then you pick up your faction quests, which you can do as soon as you get your faction, and then you go and run out and do your missions. I've mostly been sticking to PvE. There are also PvP faction missions which force on your open world PvP. If you do have open world PvP on, you do get 10% bonus experience, and the PvP quests actually are probably the best way to level. Some of them give like double the experience that you would get for non-PvP quests. The one caveat to that is that if you die, you fail your PvP mission. Even if you have completed everything that a PvP mission required you to do, unless you go and deliver it when you die, you fail your PvP mission. So you can do all 3 PvP missions that you picked up. If you're running on your way back and just in front of the gate, you get murdered by a horde of people from another faction, you have just wasted probably 30 minutes of your life. What this really turned into is that if you are playing solo, just focus on the PvE missions. If you can get a party together of 5 people, go and do the PvP missions. There's definitely strength in numbers, and if they see 5 people running together, they're not going to attack you, or they're less likely to attack you. And even if you then do go down, if your party members win, you can probably be revived, and you'll be fine. So that would be the one thing to keep in mind. I mainly stuck to PvE missions because I just wanted to chill. I didn't really want to be stressed out while I was playing, while I was trying to level up. But it is the main way that people reach level 50 and even level 60 within a very quick amount of time. Talking about these missions, it's probably one of the weaker points that people have been pointing towards, because the missions aren't really anything special, especially because the main loop when you are done with the main quests in a certain settlement is to just keep running back and accepting your 3 faction quests and then going out there again. They do end up getting that very type of repetitive feel. It's like you're doing world quests in a lot of games. but then while continuously having to run back to town and delivering the 3 missions and picking 3 more missions up, you do keep on getting rewards, and the chests keep on getting respawned, and, you know, you are making progress. But if you are somebody who plays a game for the quests, you know, if you're coming off of Elder Scrolls Online, or if you're playing Star Wars The Old Republic, or any of those types of very heavy, story-focused MMORPGs, you're probably not going to find that in this game at all. The same goes for your faction identity. I found that my faction identity, other than, yay, I'm Team Purple, wasn't really anything. Of course, this would probably be helped along if you actually read the quest text. Maybe there's something in the quest text that really makes you feel like you're special, but it really didn't do anything for me. So, yeah, take that as whatever you want. For me, the quests were mostly just a device to push me to go out there, go and kill enemies, go and get more chests, and then at the same time get some extra bonus experience for completing the quests. The quests are still, even if it's just the PvE missions, are still the best way to get yourself levels and therefore push yourself up to do some of the more interesting things that I'm still trying to work towards, because you need to be level 50 to do some of the exciting things. Anyway, those were my thoughts and opinions on the combat and the general gameplay loop of the game. I really do enjoy the game, but I also simultaneously recognize that it's very much a game for me that is carried by its combat, and I would say if the combat happened to be different, it would probably not be special. If this was a tap-targeting MMORPG, it would be, you know, nothing. It would come onto the market, it would fail, crash and burn, and get nowhere. Instead, you have this very interesting combat system that I feel like they kind of are trying to build an MMORPG around, and I think because this is one of the first times that we are getting this pretty interesting combat system in an MMORPG, as much as we have already had action-based MMOs, this is like that next little step. You know, I made the joke earlier, but it is kind of, you know, that Dark Souls-y type of combat where you have to think about your slashes, you have to leave that space so you can actually dodge or that you can actually block at the right time. It's very interesting, and I'm very excited to see where the game goes from here. So yeah, I'm definitely keeping my eyes on anything about this game to see where the game progresses, what changes, and where stuff goes. As much as I will probably stay away from playing future tests just because I want to keep the game relatively fresh for when it eventually releases in 2021. Anyway guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There will still be another video where I'll probably go into depth about gathering and crafting in this game, which is actually one of the reasons why I originally started looking at this game, because it seemed pretty in-depth, and you level up all the things, which always makes me a little interested, coming from, you know, somebody that has played quite a bit of RuneScape, where you also level up all the things. So look out for that. If you want to see that and you aren't subscribed yet, consider subscribing. Oh my god, it's the YouTube thing. Consider liking the video, ringing that bell, you know, all that stuff that YouTubers say or something. Also, if you have any thoughts or opinions on my thoughts or opinions, or you just want to add in general what you think about the game, feel free to leave a comment. I do read everything, and I do usually respond to everything as well, so yeah, feel free to do that. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Have a very wonderful rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.